Hey everybody, it's Sharmel. Welcome back to my channel. I know it's been a minute. I know y'all looking at me like, girl, what the hell? Like, I know. I know. So yeah, let's just get into the video. Let's just get into it.
The sun shines on all of my glory. My flaws don't look so bad at all. What was I so afraid of?
Okay, y'all. So where do I start? Like I said, I know it's been a minute. I don't think I've posted like a real video since February. It is now mid-April, so it's been a couple months. I think my last like little life update was probably back in December of last year, and y'all, we're definitely due for like a little life update. And I was debating on if I was gonna even talk about this or to what capacity I would talk about it, because you know, it's just real life, and everything it's not all of my story to tell. However, y'all, I also pride myself when it comes to my content on being authentic, being transparent, especially because like a lot of content is just so performative these days. Make your money. I ain't no hater, make your money. But just me personally, just the social responsibility that I feel like you have as a content creator, especially as I'm getting older, you know, you just become more cognizant and more aware of like what you put out, how you put it out. And like I said, I've always prided myself on being very just authentic. And sometimes life ain't pretty. Sometimes life is not always aesthetically pleasing as we see on the internet. Sometimes life is not even fun, okay? So when I did my update back in December, I told you guys that like 2024 was a little bit rough. It was a little trying. I told y'all it was a lot going on, but in that video, I felt like for the most part, I just kind of focused on just like my career shift. Y'all know I transitioned back to work, and then from there I transitioned to working full-time and just trying to find a place that was a right fit for me, trying to find my new rhythm and my new groove as the economy is changing and as life is changing. I think in that video I told y'all that I had just started a new job. Still on that job, but like I said, there were other things going on. And just so long story short, a very close family member of mine has been dealing with some mental health issues, and when I tell y'all, it has just been so emotionally, physically, spiritually draining and taxing. This was something that I don't think this is something I could have ever really prepared myself for. And yeah, y'all, like I said, life ain't always pretty. Life is not always aesthetically pleasing. And like I said, I've been kind of battling how I want to approach it and talk about it. And so this is something my family has honestly been dealing with for a long time. Like, it's not necessarily new to us, but in the last year, the symptoms have just gotten more aggressive. And in this new year specifically, like, things have just really hit a peak. And y'all, if y'all was watching my vlogs at the beginning of the year, I was really excited. Y'all know I had just started my new job. Things were turning a new leaf. I'm like, okay, things are kind of balancing back out. I'm really excited for this new year. And just like, bam, it just started coming and coming and coming and coming. And it really just kind of like shifted my life, shifted the dynamic in my life, my day-to-day operations. It has just been a lot. And I think the thing that really pushed me to talk about it, because the thing that made all of this even, or making, because I'm still dealing with it, the thing that has been making this situation so tough is just getting the support, getting treatment, getting help. It has been a lot on the family, and it's just been so frustrating. I feel like every time you turn on the TV, you see ads all the time that's always promoting like mental health. If you know someone in need, call these numbers, do this. But in reality, in the real world, the resources aren't, I'm not gonna say the resources aren't there, but actually getting the help is not as easy as it seems. There's been a lot of 911 calls in the last couple of months. There's been a lot of emergency room visits. There's been crisis units on the scene. And I don't know how many times I've heard like, you know, we can tell that they're experiencing a mental crisis, however, they don't meet the criteria. And it's just been so frustrating. And so this criteria that they have, it's very strict. Basically, the criteria is if a person is not saying or trying to harm themselves or someone else, they don't help. They can't do anything. And if you've ever experienced psychosis or experienced someone like dealing with psychosis, it is a very interesting dynamic. It's one of those things, like if you don't, you never know, you might have come in contact with someone who was experiencing some type of psychosis, but it's one of those things where if you don't know the person, it's not always as easy to pick up on. Like you might see somebody and be like, they're acting a little strange, but if you don't know them, it's not something that you would really pick up. But you know, when you have someone that you've been around your whole life, that you love, that you know on a personal level, you know when they are not themselves. And it's one of those things where it's like it can start off mild, but the longer it goes untreated, just the more severe the symptoms can become. Like, at least in my experience, because I'm no doctor, I'm no clinician. Yeah, when it comes to somebody who's dealing with psychosis, like some of the, like they might talk about things and they may involve real life people or real life situations, but they kind of distort the truth, right? They create like delusions around it. And like I said, initially you'll be like, okay, like, sounds a little off, but you know what you know. But like I said, the longer it goes untreated, the more the delusions start to just sound like, okay, that's not making sense, that's not right. Especially if you have been involved in some of the things that they might speak about. And yeah, behaviors can be very manic. People who experience these mental health crises, they don't think anything is wrong with them. And so a lot of times they think they're fine. And so like I said, with the criteria being so strict, the only way they can really get treatment if they don't meet the criteria is if they volunteer themselves. And like I understand why they have their criteria, but it kind of just leaves the family in a very vulnerable place, because like I said, it can start off small, but then the behavior starts to become very manic. So they could be calm one moment and then they could be doing something completely irrational the next moment. And it's like, yeah, the irrational behavior may not cause immediate danger, but it's one of those things where if the behavior continues, it can lead to more harmful situations. And so it's just been very frustrating dealing with it. And you know, doctors basically telling you like, hold on, because I'm trying not to get emotional. I gotta go to work, y'all, but I needed to film this video because I'm gonna get back into it. But yeah, it's just very frustrating when it's like, I'm like, something is not right? My family member, they're not themselves, and them just telling you like, yeah, but there's nothing we can do. And I'm like, you basically telling me that I have to wait for this person to potentially harm themselves or harm someone else around before y'all step in and do something. And y'all, like I said, I don't think anything in my life could have ever, I don't think this is something you can really truly prepare for. Give me a minute to gather myself. Okay, but yeah, y'all, yeah, the last couple of months have just been hard. It's been a lot of tears, just a lot of crying. That's the same thing as tears, y'all. It's just been a lot of frustrations. I feel like I've been extremely irritable. I'm very temperamental. Like I could be okay one minute, the next minute I'm just like overstimulated. It's just been a lot. And so obviously, like, I have not wanted to get on camera like this. it's just been one of those situations where we've had good days, we've had okay days, we've had some really, really rough days, and I'm just really at a place in my life where I will literally have to take it one day at a time. And that's literally all I can do, is take it one day at a time, because every day is just so unpredictable. And then on top of that, you know, when you go through situations like this, sometimes they just start to trigger things in you as well, because it's one of those things, it's kind of like, is this really my life? Like, I've had so many moments of me just sitting in silence or just crying and like, this can't be life right now. Is this really my life? And then from there, you just kind of start to spiral, and you like, what am I doing with my life? Like, what am I doing? And you start to just think of like your own personal failures or things that you're still working on that you haven't accomplished yet. And it just also triggered a lot in me, just dealing with this entire situation, and you know, just trying to, like I said, deal with it, manage it, navigate it. I think that is one of the hardest things for me to accept, is like, this might be my new normal, and that's a hard pill to swallow, right? Situations like this cause a lot of strain on just the family in general, a lot of strain on the relationships, because you know, you have this person who you've always experienced a certain way. Like, I know this person, I know how they act, I know the type of relationship that me and this person have, and then you're essentially watching your loved one become a complete stranger. It's been a lot. I've been trying to make sure I'm okay, because you know, you can't pour from an empty cup, and I know that. And it was like a week where things were just like really bad. I was barely eating, I was barely sleeping, and my man is like, you know, you need to get it together before you cause yourself to have a mental breakdown as well, because I was just so stressed. And so I'm just trying to support my family member, continue to advocate for my family member as much as I can. Like I said, I'm just kind of like navigating this new space that I'm in, y'all. I've had so much brain fog. Like, I've been so disconnected. And yeah. And so that brings me to the next thing I want to talk about, which I'm sure all of y'all see. My hair. The locks are gone. I really didn't want this to be a focal point of the video. I really don't want to go too much into detail about it, if I'm being completely honest. Y'all, I love locks. Locks have a special place in my heart. I have nothing negative to say about my locks. I have nothing negative to say about my lock journey or my lock experience or the lock extensions. You guys know, for the last year I had lock extensions. And I was just kind of documenting that process or whatever. Honestly, I have nothing negative to say. Will I ever lock my hair again? Is possible. But like I said, with everything going on, y'all, I just needed a fresh start. I needed something new. Literally, I came home from work about 2 weeks ago. I didn't even comb them out this time. I tried to comb out a couple, and I'm just like, this ain't it. This ain't it. I came home from work, took the scissors, and just cut them off, y'all. It was very like Britney Spears 2007, shave your hair. I really did have the itch to shave my hair, but I know that would have really sent me spiraling. Like, it would have felt good in the moment, but I'm sure afterwards I would have been frustrated with going to work. And that's another thing, dealing with all of this, y'all, and then you still got responsibilities, bills still got to get paid. You still got to show up for work. Technically, I've been on my job, I want to say about 5 months now, maybe almost 6 months, but I'm still fairly new on the job, y'all. So trying to just show up and still be present. Like I said, I've had a lot of brain fog. It's been a lot. But yeah, y'all, I came home from work one day and I said, it gotta go. I cut them, and that was that. And then after I did it, I called my cousin. I'm like, I think I'm gonna need you to come braid my hair, because yeah. I'm sure I'll get into my hair in another video more in depth, but y'all, it's very choppy. It looks a mess. But I did still leave some hair so I can still do a little something. But my hair is extremely choppy. After I got them all out and my cousin came to braid my hair, I'm like, I think I need to cut it some more. And she's like, no, don't touch them scissors. You need to make an appointment with a stylist and get your hair professionally cut, which I know I plan on doing at some point, but y'all, it's a mess. So for right now, y'all, we have braids. I do have an idea kind of what I want to do with my hair next, but I've started working out. I joined Orange Theory about a month ago, and I really like it. But yeah, I think at least until the summertime, because first of all, I just needed to work out for an outlet. But y'all know I'm also, like I said, this whole experience just makes you think like, what am I doing with my life? And so I've just been trying to clean up different areas of my life since dealing with all of this, and making sure that I'm operating in my purpose. I'm doing everything that God called me to do. I'm taking care of myself as much as possible, and just being able to just find little joys in my life, because like I told you, I'm literally taking it a day at a time. I haven't been going out much. I haven't been doing a lot just because, like I said, everything has been so unpredictable. I never know when I'm gonna get a phone call and say, this is happening, we need you here, or what have you. And so yeah, just finding little things that I can release, and just trying to get my own self, mind, body, soul into a good place. A lot of prayer. It just is, yeah. But yeah, that's my hair right now, y'all. Like I said, we'll get into it in another video, but that's what it is right now. I know some people are probably disappointed or sad or what have you, but I mean, it is what it is. It's been almost 5 years since I've been doing lock content. I know I combed my first set out and took a break for a few months, but for the most part, y'all, I've been doing lock content specifically for almost 5 years. And like I said, I just feel like I needed a fresh start. And I know it's just hair, but you know, our hair can represent multiple things. So I personally just felt like I needed a new start. Spring started not too long ago, so you know, spring represents like growth, and spring represents new life. And so that's just kind of the wavelength that I'm on. Like, let's start completely over, not completely over, but let's just start fresh. Let's do some new things this year. And that's how I'm feeling. So yeah, y'all, like I told y'all, it's mid-April. It's April 16th as I'm recording this. I don't know when I'll actually post this video, because like I said, I'm in a season of just like new life, new creation. Let's try some new things. And so with that being said, I want to get back into my content because I have missed doing it, but it's just been hard to do with everything going on. But yeah, I'm in the process of getting back into it, but I don't want to post this video and then y'all might not see another video for like a week or two. So yeah, y'all, I'm just gonna start filming stuff, but I'm probably gonna wait to post them so that I can at least give y'all a little bit of consistent content after this video comes out, because I hate even doing videos like this. I hate taking breaks and then coming back with like a sob story, and it's just like, girl, post content. But yeah, so I definitely wanted to give you guys an update, but I do want to just kind of transition back into my content. I definitely want to get back into just like my beauty content. I know I was doing the hair and stuff. I've been doing beauty, but I just felt like the last couple of years, the main focus has just been locks, but I just want to start getting into beauty and wellness overall and being consistent in that. Also want to get back to like my chit chat videos and girl talks. I haven't done those in a while, but I have some videos already kind of like outlined that I'm going to start recording over this next week. So yeah, like I said, I want to be able to just kind of, after I post this, I want to make sure I have some follow-up content for you guys. So it'll probably be a minute before you actually see this video. But yeah, just thank you to everybody who's supported my channel over, I've been doing content for a long time, but I truly do appreciate y'all who supported my channel and who has supported me through all of my like changes with my hair and just things of that nature. And yeah, I'm really just kind of in a season. God has just really been teaching me like how to really surrender in this season. Because it's easy to say like I'm gonna surrender it all to God, but like when you wake up and life is just like you don't know what is going on. Like I have more of like a type A personality, and so I'm used to being able to dictate and control and just being able to figure things out, right? I mean, I had a lot of good moments in my life. Things have never been like perfect, but I've always been able to figure it out, right? And I've always kind of prided myself on being able to figure it out. Even if I don't have all the resources, I'm gonna find a way and I'm gonna figure it out, or I'm gonna find another option. You know, having that type of personality and then being put in positions and situations where you can't figure it out, you trying to do stuff and it ain't working, I feel like the only thing I can really do is surrender it to God, and that it's been hard. Again, when you have that type A kind of personality and you used to dictating stuff, it's hard to completely surrender it. But I trust and believe, and I know that God uses everything for the good of those who love him. So I love God, and I know that he's taking this situation and using it for a purpose. And I believe that God can heal my relative. I know that God can do it, but one thing that I've also had to pray is that it's not my will, but thy will be done. And while I want that person to be healed, I want them to go back to being the person that I know them to be, I also don't know the plans that God has for that person, right? And so it's easy for me to be selfish and be like, God, heal this person because I want them to be who I always thought them to be. But you know, everybody got their own life. Everybody has their own life experiences. You know, we all just got our own struggles, and we all have our own traumas. And you know, God has a purpose for that person's life, just as he has a purpose for mine. And so I can't be selfish in this situation because I don't know what God is doing. I don't know how God is going to use this situation. I believe he's going to use it for good. I know he's going to use it for good. And so I just kind of have to, again, surrender and let it play out and do what I can. Put myself in a position to be used and to be ready when he needs me to be. And again, continue to support and advocate, but also not get too ahead of God, because like I said, I just trust God. So yeah, I had a moment the other day, just 2 days ago. Yeah, I came home crying because it had been a rough day, and I ate my dinner and then I was just kind of cleaning up in the kitchen, and I went to go close my blinds for the day. And so where this window is, it kind of faces like the backyard, back part of the complex kind of area, and there's a fence. And honestly, like where this fence is, typically there's nothing but weeds that typically grow back there. And mind you, I just had a crying session about an hour prior to this, and just kind of like, God, what are you doing in my life? I've been at a place, y'all, where I've just been so over. Like I said, I've been extremely irritable. Even with my content, I'm just kind of like, whatever. Maybe, I don't even know if I'm gonna come back. I don't even know if I'm gonna continue to do content. I don't even know if I want to do these things. I don't even know if I like these things anymore. That's kind of been my disposition. And so, I was kind of feeling like I'm ready to throw in the towel. Like I said, I'm going to close my blinds for the evening. And in this area where there's typically weeds that grow, it's a fence and it's typically weeds. I go to close my blinds and I look up and I see a pink flower just blooming, y'all. And I'm gonna put a picture to show y'all. There's nothing around it. It's a fence, typically weeds, and there's one random pink flower blooming. And I just felt like that was for me. That was God reminding me to continue to bloom. Regardless of your environment, regardless of your circumstances, you can continue to bloom. And so that's what I'm about to do. I'm gonna continue to bloom, y'all. I don't know what this year has in store for me. I don't know what's next, but all I'm gonna do, again, is take it one day at a time and do what I can do one day at a time. But yeah, y'all, I gotta go. I don't work. So yeah, thank y'all all so much for watching. Thank you all for your support. I pray that you guys are doing well, because I feel like I ain't talked to y'all in a minute either. I hope everything is going well in your lives. Hopefully you guys stick around for this new journey. I don't know what kind of journey I'm on right now, but like I said, this is life at this point. This is what it is. And so I'm just trying to make the most of it. I'm trying to make the best of it. But that's it, you guys. Thank you all so much for watching. Don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe. Follow me on all my social media platforms as Sharmel Lynette. And I will see y'all in my next video. Bye.